Let's see.
All right. I'm gonna apologize right now if my Wi-Fi decides to give up on me. So this section is how to do it all, how to manage your time, how to manage balancing all your extracurriculars and your grades. So next slide, please.
Hey,
So this is,
Maria,
yes.
before you go on, I just want to say that you're getting great advice from Miss Maria Cortez, who is our Dean's List winner. Yes, I didn't want to embarrass you, but that's a great accomplishment. Dean's, Jason, if you're there, can you mic on and explain what that is, please? Because the advice that she's about to give you is coming from a person who accomplished something really incredible.
Good morning, everyone. Hopefully you can hear me. And yes, we are very proud of Maria. She is the inaugural Dean's List winner in the Rio Grande Valley for FIRST Robotics. And to put it in perspective, there are more than 600,000 students in 100 countries around the world. And this year, or I should say this last season, just ended in February, we were proud to get notice from headquarters that Maria was selected one of 10 students from around the world to achieve the recognition as Dean's List. And Dean is not the traditional Dean's List that you would think of in school, but Dean Kamen is the founder of FIRST Robotics, and we encourage all of y'all to Google Dean Kamen and check out some of the 130 patents that he has. But anyway, we're very proud of Maria, and we're looking forward to her presentation this morning.
All right, no pressure there. Now I can't mess up. All right, so here's a quick rundown of what we are going to do. I'm going to introduce myself, then we're going to play a quick game of Never Have I Ever, and then I'm going to offer some advice and probably share a life story or two. And then I'm going to ask you guys questions. Please interact. I do not do well with awkward silence. And then I'm going to close with some things you should keep in mind as to the future, your planning, and all that stuff. So next slide, please. All right, so hi, I'm Maria Cortez. I'm a senior at McAllen, and I'm in a bunch of stuff. I'm in robotics, I'm in tennis, I've been in Battle of the Books since middle school, I'm in orchestra, I just joined Skills this year. So I'm in a lot of stuff, and I have learned a lot that I need to sacrifice a lot of things in order to do better in other stuff. I'm gonna try to help you guys balance out and give some advice on how to prioritize. And yeah, that's a picture of me and my sister. Quick sentiment, she is probably the reason why I do everything. She's what motivates me, and I'm pretty sure one of our presenters will talk about motivation later. So next slide, please. So let's start with the game of Never Have I Ever. We're gonna do the little 5 fingers. So quick rundown on how you play. You put a finger down if you felt that, done that, or essentially just done that. And if you haven't, you keep your finger up. So never have I ever felt so nervous before a competition. I have. Never have I ever freaked out while I was in the interview. I have. Never have I ever done things at the last minute right before a competition. I have. Never have I ever, let's see, never have I ever had to get stuff at the last minute because I realized, oh no, I forgot everything. Never have I ever stuttered through an interview and ended up doing horribly bad, because I know I have. Never have I ever freaked out because my grades were low and I needed to pass in order to get into competition. Never have I ever freaked out that I wasn't doing my job right. Never have I ever panicked that I was a leader and I felt like I wasn't doing a good enough job to help my teammate. All right, so from what I can gather, we're all human. Yay for us. We're human and we're not robots. Okay, so the reason I wanted to play that game was I wanted to show everyone that we're all the same, that we all have the same worries, that we all freak out, we all panic. Honestly, right now I'm internally panicking because I don't want to mess up. So that's what we all feel, and that's what we all go through. So next slide, please. So here's the thing. I'm pretty sure we all know this. Life is really hard. It is really hard before COVID. It's really hard now, and it'll probably still be hard afterwards. So my advice is you have to know what you want. And if you are unsure about what you want, take a step back to reflect. I've had moments in my life where I question, what is it that I want to do? Let me give you a rundown of how indecisive I am. When I was little, I wanted to be an artist. I wanted to open a restaurant. I wanted to be president. I wanted to be a music teacher. I wanted to be a lawyer. And now I want to be an engineer. And now I'm thinking of bioengineering. So that's how indecisive I am. So what I did to get to this point, to realize that I want to be an engineer, is that I looked at what mattered to me. I looked at, what do I want to achieve with my life? Because if you do not know what you want to achieve, you will never get there. It's okay to not be sure right now. It's okay not to be sure in the future. Life changes and we adapt to it. So the way I'm handling things right now is that I found something that I enjoyed, which was robotics. My freshman year, I wanted to be a music teacher, which sounds ridiculous now that I think about it. And then I got into robotics and STEM. And I was the only girl in my class, and I felt like that was wrong. I felt that I wasn't supposed to be there, and I felt that I was walking into a mess that I didn't even know what was going on. But I started learning from it, and I started prioritizing it more. I started liking it more. And I realized this is the thing I want to do because it challenged me. And what I've noticed, and I'm pretty sure everyone can relate to this, is we like things that challenge us. Sure, we're like, oh, this is so much work. Oh, I hate this, I hate that. But at the end of the day, you're still doing it because you like it. If not, you wouldn't be there. So find what you like, try different things out. And then from there, you'll be able to make a list of your priorities. I know I've had to give up classes because I had to prioritize robotics. I had to prioritize my grades. Some of the classes I gave up this past year, I gave up ASL. I joined it last year. I loved the class. I still wanted to do it. But unfortunately, I was already committed to too many other things that I couldn't do it. So I had to drop it out and I had to focus on what really mattered to me more. It's gonna hurt. It really hurts when you have to give something up, but it's part of the sacrifice you have to make in order to manage yourself. Because if you don't give something up, you're just gonna put way too much weight on yourself and you're gonna come collapsing. Because I know I've had moments where I've wanted to break down, I've wanted to cry, all because I couldn't manage myself properly. And sure, when you take a class out or when you take an activity out, it's gonna hurt, but you're gonna feel better afterwards because that's one less responsibility and that's one more way in order for you to become committed to the path you're taking. So next slide, please. This is the part where I want you guys to ask me questions and I will answer them to the best of my abilities. I know it's kind of hard right now because we're not face to face, but anyone who has questions on how to decide and how to prioritize, I am here for it. If no one is going to ask questions, then I will proceed to tell you what to do. So feel free in the chat or mic on.
How did you decide what you were going to get rid of and sacrifice?
All right, well, that was hard. What I had to do was I had to really think about the future, which I know no one likes to do, but it's important to think about a future plan. Even if it's not permanent, it's a setup for what you want to build up to. It can change as long as you go, but that long-term plan, that plan of the future is what plans your short terms and your future goals. So for me, all of this kind of started sophomore year. I wanted to take welding, but it was a block periods and I did not have the room in my schedule because I was already committed to robotics. I was already committed to tennis. I already was committed to orchestra and I had already been in those things so long and I enjoyed them. So it seemed a bit ridiculous to me to give up all that stuff I've already been in for a long time and try this new thing. So I had to give up trying something new. And then I did ASL and then this year I had to give it up in order to decide what matters to me because I have decided that I wanted to go into engineering. ASL doesn't necessarily pertain to that, so I decided to get rid of that class and I took an engineering class instead. It's hard to sacrifice, but you need to know kind of what you want, and I know that's kind of hard at this point, but you need to have a general idea. I'm looking at the chat from Diana. How do you balance school functions and clubs on top of your everyday life. You have to lean on people. You have to. Because I'm going to be honest, you can do all that by yourself, but if you don't have the support from others, it's going to be hard to do it. It's going to be hard because you need that support. So, like I said, you need to prioritize what matters more, and you have to learn to settle on certain things. You have to say, hey, this is the amount of progress I can make today, and this is what I'm going to do. I do not want to overexert myself. And that's something I feel like we all do. We all overexert ourselves, and we shouldn't, because that hurts us. That hurts us physically and mentally, and that's something we shouldn't do. You need to find a way to balance. And if you're not good at that, find your support people. They will help you out. I know I couldn't have settled on the stuff I wanted to do now if it were not for my friends, my parents, or my teachers. They're the ones who told me, think about it this way, like you're overthinking it. And that's what we do a lot. We overthink. And what I like is to get a perspective from someone who's not in my shoes, who's like, they don't know what's going on in here. They don't know what I'm feeling. So they give me the most logical and the most straightforward thing I should do. Are they right all the time? No, but it's good advice to have. It's a good idea to get a perspective from somebody else so that they can help guide you. And I know they always say, oh, don't listen to your friends, don't do this or that. And I get that. You're not supposed to completely listen to them, but having advice from them helps in order to balance your life. And as far as functions and clubs go, like actually finding the time to do it, you need to organize your time. And that's part of the thing I did too. I know sophomore year, I decided to take, instead of taking an AP class, I took a CP class because I wanted to focus more on robotics. I wanted to get the hang of it first before I threw myself all in. And then that helped me in junior year get more AP classes and learn how to balance it more since I got the hang of doing robotics. So I know not everyone wants to do that. I know everyone wants to take those advanced classes, but if you have to, it's okay to take a step back and just like remove one class, download it down a level so you can get used to it. Because the main point I'm trying to get here is do not overwhelm yourself. If you overwhelm yourself, you're not going to get through it at all, and you're just going to feel miserable. So that's what I'm trying to establish here. Any other questions? Who creates clubs? Who creates the clubs? I really do not know. I'm gonna say the schools create the clubs. How do you deal with it? Okay, how do you deal with that? Well, how do you deal with disappointing people from those classes and clubs you had to give up? Well, you just have to accept it. You can't expect to satisfy everyone. That is not the point of you trying to live your life. What you're supposed to do is satisfy yourself. What makes you happy? Because if you're going to go off and satisfy other people, that's just going to give you off the track you want to be on. You have to be able to put your foot down and say, this is what I want to do, and you can't tell me what to do. Because I get it. Like with parents, some of them have certain ideas for us. With teachers, they're all like, oh, you should be so good for this. Or your friends will be like, hey, you need to join this because we're in it. No, it's about what you want. And it's okay to say no. I feel like we all are like in a phase where we're like, oh, I can't say no to that. Oh, I have to be polite. Oh, I can't do this. No, you have to put your foot down. Because if you do not put your foot down, then how are you going to expect to move forward? You have to be willing to say no. And yes, it's going to hurt. And yes, you're going to probably think back to it and say, man, that hurt. It really was bad. But sometimes you have to have a little pain to gain a lot more. Okay, I'm looking more questions at the chat. Do you have any specific methods for planning your day, week, month, or do you involve a use of a planner or another method? Okay, so I wouldn't use a planner my first or second year of high school until my teacher made it extra credit, which turned out to be a good idea. So I do recommend a planner. Planners do help, but I understand for the people who do not like planners, what I recommend is that you have a list of priorities at least. Like, if you're in several clubs, what is your priority? For me, this is my setup. My priority is robotics. Then after that, it's tennis. Then after that, it's orchestra. So you have to know how to structure your activities. Because if you don't, you're going to be all over the place. You have to know which is the most important, and then from there, coordinate accordingly. let's see, how do you keep from overwhelming yourself? Take a break. I don't always listen to this, but you need to take a break. You need to be able to take a break when you need it. What I do is, if I have a lot of work one day, I do one task and then I'll take a break and then I'll do another task. If I have easy work where I can get rid of it like really quick, I'll do that first, because for me, it gives me anxiety having a list of a bunch of stuff. So if I can get easy stuff out of the way, that's what I do. When I have my long assignments, every time I complete it, I take a break. And depending how long an assignment is, you need those breaks. So if an assignment's taking me 3 hours, I'll take maybe a break, 5 to 10-minute break after each hour. So you don't feel like your brain is being overloaded. And you have to make sure you either have a snack. If you haven't eaten, eat, take that moment to take a break. If you need a nap, take a nap. It's okay. Don't feel that, oh, I have all this stuff done, I need to do all this stuff, and then I can't rest. I can't do this. No. And talk to your teachers. Teachers are more understanding than we give them credit for. Like, I know I've had friends who are like, oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't meet the deadline. Can you give me an extension? Or like, hey, I'm having family issues. It's okay if I get it to a day extension. Teachers understand, especially at this point. So don't be afraid to talk to them. Like, be able to do that so you can relax more. Let's see. If you want to create a club that is approved by school, you have to apply the description in the plan. Yes, I highly recommend that. You'll need to do that. What do you do when your activities become extremely stressful or burdening? Well, take a break. If they feel overwhelming and you need some time to yourself, take the time to yourself, because you won't be any good to your team or your classes if you cannot function properly. Like, you need to take care of yourself. You need to take a break. And sometimes you're going to have to say, hey, I'm taking these 2 days off. I need it. I'm not in a good place right now. Take the days off. It may be like, oh no, I'm not being good enough. Oh no, I'm being weak. No, it's not that at all. What you're doing is taking care of yourself. And that's what your team wants. Your team isn't gonna say, oh, you didn't show up. Oh, you didn't do this. Oh, you didn't do that. No, your team is understanding. Now, if you don't give a reason for it, then of course they're gonna be mad at you or something. But if you're saying, hey, I'm not doing good right now, can I take this break? I'm pretty sure they will understand. Especially now, like, I know I struggle a lot, and I talk to my teachers. I communicate with people, hey, I'm not going to be here today, or hey, I'm not going to do this, or I'm not feeling well. You have to do that in order to be able to be a part of the team, because if you don't take care of yourself first, then how can you expect to be a part of the team? Okay, what is the most common challenge that you have faced in robotics? Well, before COVID, it was more like trying to get everything done. But now after COVID, I feel like my biggest challenge is to make sure my team is okay. Since I'm the president of my team, I always want to be there for them. I always want to make sure they're okay. I do not want to stress my team out more than I have to, especially in these times. So right now, the biggest challenge I'm facing is making sure they're participating, but also that it's not hurting them. But before that, my biggest challenge in robotics was getting things done, making sure everyone was participating, making sure everyone was doing this or that, making sure it was functioning as it should. I'm not going to say perfectly, because no team functions perfectly. It needs to function in the way that it normally would. So how did you go about finding an inner reason for why you do things? I noticed that not having a why made me drop everything. Okay, yeah. You need to have an inner reason. And it's kind of hard to answer that question, because it's more about what you want. And I know that's hard to find, but for me, what made me click that day in robotics was I had a passion for it that I didn't even realize, because I'm a person who loves to be challenged.
I don't know, it's just me, but did she cut off for y'all?
She
Yeah.
cut out for me too.
I will give her like a couple
Okay.
seconds.
All right, thanks, Jose.
Maria, you're back? Hello?
Am I back?
Yeah, you're back. You're back. Okay, keep going.
Yay, I'm glad that I apologized before this started. Yeah, but it's more about you have to try stuff in order to find yourself. And I know that's kind of like, how do I do that now? Well, research stuff, try different stuff. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's a list of hobbies you can find. And once you have those hobbies, you can start getting into it more. Like for me, one of my hobbies has always been reading. I love reading way more than I probably should. And I found Battle of the Books, and Battle of the Books helped me compete in something I really love to do. So find something that works with you, and that will definitely help you find what career you want. I know it's tough right now, and I know we're struggling with it, but just try different stuff and you'll be fine. Believe me, you'll feel so confused at the moment, but when you realize it, you'll know. So we have something from Joanna Gonzalez, not a question, but I want to express how difficult it is to make these habits. But if you start developing these types of reflective personal priorities, it will not only help you for clubs, but also for growing as a human. I only wish someone said to start thinking about these things when I was in school. Start with just a list and organize yourself. What is important to you? Thank you, Joanna Gonzalez, for sharing. I definitely agree. It's it's hard because like you look back and you're always like, oh, I wish someone said this. Oh, I wish someone did this. Well, when you realize that, you have to use it in your future life. And not only that, but pass it down to your younger classmates and stuff. Pass it down to the lower classmen. Pass it down to a family member or someone who you know who could use it. It's all about going around and sharing what you know. If you don't share what you know, then people will be having the same thoughts you did. And that's the last thing we want. We want to prevent this from happening and we want to help other people. So I believe that is very important and that's what we need to do. From Diana Rodriguez, I feel some people don't like to branch out since they might feel embarrassed about that, but no, it's not. It's okay to find what you love. Thank you, Diana, for sharing that. I'm sorry if I mispronounced any names. But yeah, she's right. You have to branch out. If you don't branch out, then there's no way for you to explore or for you to find yourself. You need to do that. And don't be scared. Believe me, walking into robotics on the first day when I joined that STEM class, I was the only girl and it scared me so bad because I thought I was in the wrong classroom. I thought maybe I shouldn't be here. Maybe I shouldn't be doing this. I had so many doubts, but once you push past that, you get through it and you can achieve so many amazing things. Like I became VP, now I'm president, I won that award. It's all about taking the first step. And I know we're all scared to dive into the deep end, but that's what you got to do. Remember, nothing in life is ever easy. If it's worth it, it's not going to be easy. So you have to go through it and just take that step. Okay, Saldana, next slide, please. Okay, so these are some things I would like for all of you to keep in mind. When you're planning all these things out, prioritize. I cannot stress that enough. That's the most important thing. What matters to you? What is your goal? What do you want? Not what others want, what do you want? That's the most important thing. You have to be willing to make sacrifices, whether it's for a club, whether it's satisfying others, whether it's saying, hey, I need to take a break and I need to take some time off. Instead of focusing on all this stuff, you have to sacrifice certain things because what matters is you. If you can't have that stability, if you can't organize yourself, then you're never going to get anything done. So you have to reflect. You need to reflect because you need to know what makes you happy. Because the last thing you want to end up doing is being in an office where you hate your job or being, I don't know, let's say you're an indoor person and you're outside and you don't like that. That's the last thing you want to do. And then once you know what you want or have a general idea what you do, of what you want to do, plan in short-term, long-term goals. Or even then, I recommend you have like little small goals that make you happy. Like do that. Like I do this where I'm like, okay, I want to take a break here. And that's my goal. I'm going to take this break and it's going to make me happy. Or, hey, I have a big project coming up. I want to work on this. I'll plan it accordingly. So when it's done, yay, I'm happy. And also know what you're good at and know what you struggle in. I know that in the beginning, I struggled with talking to others. I was very much an introvert and I was always scared of speaking because I thought I was going to say something wrong or make fun of myself or stutter. And at this point, if I stutter, I'm just like, okay, fine, it's fine. So yeah, know what you're good at, know what you struggle, and just build it up. Make your areas of struggle strong and reinforce what you're already good at. You have to be decisive. And I know we all hate being decisive, but the moment you make a decision, that's going to make your life easier. You can ask any one of my friends. I'm probably the most indecisive person they have ever met. And you have to make those decisions. Believe me, if you learn to say yes, if you learn to say no to this, if you learn to say, I'm going to achieve this, then life will be so much easier. So yeah, just keep in mind to breathe and don't be scared. Find support in any way you can. And if you ever want to reach out to anyone, whether it's a teacher or a friend or a parent or a family member, find someone who understands you, because if you do not have that support, it's going to hurt a lot and you're going to feel that you can't do anything. You need to find that motivation. All right, so that's all my slides. Thank you so much, everyone. If you have any other questions, let me know.